The United States fell to its lowest level in the so-called World Happiness Survey released by Gallup last month. The annual survey found that America ranked 24th. The number likely being driven by Democrats, liberals, and liberal women in particular. It is a crisis of spirit in this country that should not be ignored. Hypersensitivity, hopelessness, subjective realities, moral relativism, emotionalism over rationality and science. They are all symptoms of a problem that once on the fringes of American society is now front and center. The twin cognitive distortions of projection and deflection among far-left liberals in America combine to create a phenomenon that irrationally attacks not just Donald Trump and Republicans and conservatives, but anything that seems to be core to America's success. For the American left, that is by design, and it doesn't matter how many millions are harmed in the process. And that harm is backed up by more and more data. The attacks on the institutions of faith and marriage and ubiquitous negative media ultimately leads to less physical and spiritual connection with each other. Catastrophism is a staple of the left's approach to controlling the population, and it is a cancer on this country. It is fed by social media and a press aligned with the far left within the Democratic Party. I've called it chaos profiteering for years, and the mental health impacts of it all is increasingly obvious. And folks, it makes sense. If your phone and schools and media are constantly telling you that the nation is dangerous or unfair, or that climate change is going to kill you, or that your rights are under attack, or that your perception of self-worth should be inextricably tied to a belief that an unborn human child is nothing more than a clump of cells, or that women can become men and men can become women, you will ultimately be consumed by it. The victimhood culture of the left, which is tied to the basic tenets of Marxism, is also disproportionately hitting white Americans as opposed to minority groups. The research is there, folks. There is now a growing and shocking body of scientific data that confirms the caustic impact that left-wing media, education, and politics are having on Americans, particularly women. According to a Pew Research study, some 56% of younger white liberal women have been told by a doctor that they have a mental health condition. Experts are seeing in the data that far-left American women are less likely to believe that they have agency or power. They are less likely to be integrated into core American institutions, like marriage and religion. And for all the time they spend on social media calling other people Nazis or screaming at protests, they are less likely to feel a sense of solidarity with others. They are angry and they are lonely. They are dissatisfied with life and they need someone or something to blame. Since the advent of feminism in this country, American women have been told that they are oppressed, they are in direct competition with men, and should view men as obstacles to equality, rather than equals, or help, or support. These folks need someone to blame, not just for their perceived oppression, but for their own misery driven by personal or professional shortcomings. You're lonely, your life didn't quite turn out the way that you wanted. It's a lot easier to blame Donald Trump or Republicans than be introspective and admit that you have been conned into existing as a pawn of a toxic ideology, rather than truly living up to your God-given potential. Conservative women today are married at a rate 20 points higher than liberal women. 65% of liberal women seldom or never attend church services, while more than 75% of conservative women attend religious services either weekly or at least occasionally. Conservative women also report markedly higher rates of happiness and fulfillment. They're also more financially successful and satisfied. A key reason for the rise in Mexico and Costa Rica's happiness rankings in this year's survey appeared to be family household size. That means that the left-wing trend of not marrying or childless or smaller families or diminishing faith in God, clearly the wrong direction for the future of the nation and personal well-being. The mental and emotional devastation of the left cannot be underscored. It manifests itself in many ways. What's my point in all of this? Look, when you see one of these blue or purple-haired people screaming and yelling or posting to social media, projecting all of their own problems onto Donald Trump, when you see these folks who still wear masks or get triggered by the American flag, don't respond to their hate and their anger in kind. Pray for them. These are our children. our neighbors, and Americans who are hurting because they believe that they have been misled. They believe that they are they've been manipulated and they have been lied to for decades. They don't have much faith or connection with others. They don't have answers, and we cannot give up on them. The formula for American freedom and exceptionalism isn't broken, but we have allowed toxic ideologies like Marxism and socialism to poison it, and therefore our people. We've moved our focus from faith, family, and freedom to feckless government systems and social experimentation and hysteria. As the nation pauses tomorrow to celebrate the transformative moment of Christ's resurrection, let us have the courage to look deep within ourselves and ask whether our priorities and goals are aligned with spiritual fulfillment and true freedom, or resemble the amoral ideologies of those who want us to be isolated from God and each other for the sake of their own power. Let us, in the spirit of Easter, renew our own commitment to try to help those who are angry and in pain through patience and kindness, in the fervent hope that we may bring at least some of these folks back to believing in their God, in their country, and in themselves.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.